We are going live. It is Thursday, July 23rd, and we're doing a quick check-in on Backdrop CMS and all of the awesome stuff that we're working on. As usual, we still have free PHP Storm licenses for Backdrop contributed developers, so if you are working on porting a module or are interested in maintaining a module or a theme or a layout and want to try PHP Storm, we have licenses that are good, I think, until next March. So that'll definitely give you a little jump start on those licenses or the software if you want to give that a spin. Email info@backdropcms.org if you want one. No important updates from the PMC this week. Nate, do you want to do an update on community growth?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a quiet week. We've had one new module added to the contrib repository. No new contrib applications at this point, but if you are interested in watching these Hangouts regularly and you haven't taken the time to submit a contributed module application, I would highly encourage anybody that's interested to make a post to backdrop ops/contrib. That's where applications go for if you ported a module and you would like to move into the official GitHub group repository. Let's see, but totals-wise, just as it's tradition, let's see, it's 38 contrib authors thus far, 137 total projects for Backdrop CMS, including modules, themes, and layouts. And 53 total projects on backdropcms.org that have official releases. So still great. I'm still really thrilled with where we are, and I'm hoping that we'll see the continuing of a stream of contrib modules and new contributors coming into the project. I'll roll right into the next items because I do these as well. Infrastructure tasks. Not too much new on this front either, but we're working on getting all of our integrations fully completed between GitHub and backdropcms.org. We do have a lot of great integrations already, so that when you publish a new project on GitHub, it synchronizes with backdropcms.org. And when you make new releases, that checks in with the mothership at backdropcms.org to notify all existing Backdrop installations that a new version of your module is out, or a new version of Backdrop CMS itself is out. So that stuff is all coming along. I mean, it's all there, and it all works really well. Project Browser is some functionality that we're working on to make it so that you can find and install modules directly from within your Backdrop website without needing to go to backdropcms.org to find a list of modules or themes or anything. And that project is looking really good client-side. Server-side, we're just hung up a little bit on doing a little bit of server administration work to make that so that it's on its own subdomain so that we can federate that out and put it on CDN in the future if needed. So I think at this point, I reached out to Justin about that, but I think he's been pretty occupied. So there's a good chance that I'll probably take that back on and get that set up in the near future. Let's see. Josh for Backdrop. I have not checked in on this issue recently. Jen, do you have any idea on its standing?
I don't have any updates since last week, but it looks like, I'll just take a quick peek now. Looks like...
Yeah, it looks like it's still where it was. Yeah, it looks like actually Jeff Serendipity asked me if I had any insights on how to get that integrated. But I have not had time to take a look at it. So,
okay. Other things we're working on that we are actually making some progress on are the Backdrop flagship website, backdropcms.org. We have designs for find a module, find a module page, find a theme page, module page, and theme page is coming soon. And then I think as soon as we get all those designs done, we're going to stop and we're going to adapt the module, find a module, and module page designs for layouts for now. And we're going to put it into use and we're going to see how it goes. And then we're going to iterate. And when we do our iterative pass for design, we will come back to layouts and see if we need a specific design for layouts different that show like diagram layouts, or if we don't need those, or however we're going to figure out layouts, we'll do it then. And that way we'll just be able to kind of ship what we have, which is great. Wes, were you able to get a hold of those design files from Darius since our last meeting?
No, I have your email, and I haven't even
Okay.
read it. It's just sitting there, and I'm like, when I have time, I will read this.
Okay. I think he just created, he like was able to export some kind of fancy vector PDF from
Sketch.
ScreenFlow or whatever
Oh,
whatever the
okay.
tool was that we used to do that last round of wireframing. It had some kind of fancy export thing where everything was to scale.
Cool.
So he was able to use that and wanted to know if that was good enough, which I think it probably will be, but we'll know when you're able to take a look at that too.
Okay, cool.
And then I think we're good to go in terms of building those things. All of the work can be done directly to the backdropcms.org Git project, and then we'll do probably the usual process there of pull request, merge, and deploy, just like we do for Backdrop, the project itself. On the website itself, I think we gave you an account last week so you could log in there, but let us know if that's not working. We'll eventually get a single sign-on with GitHub so that people won't need to have separate accounts on backdropcms.org and GitHub. They'll be able to use the same one, but we don't have that yet, so we'll just create accounts for people as needed. In this case, you are probably someone who needs one. And then we have currently, I think that's just like a node page for modules, themes, and layouts. We're going to need to replace that with a view or drop in a view block on those pages or something. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether you want to do a view page or a view block. But however, and then
I probably won't get started until probably after Drupal Camp Pennsylvania. It's a couple weeks.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's
I'm
soon.
busy. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Fair enough. Well, if we get in there before then you'll have less to do. Otherwise, it can wait. Okay, and then down the road, next steps for the Backdrop CMS flagship website are a showcase. People keep asking which sites are built with Backdrop, and though we know the small handful of sites we're working on, we don't know the sites everyone else is working on, and we thought it would be really great for those sites to be able to list themselves on the website and get a little SEO love in the form of a link back. So if you have a new website and you want to put it on the Backdrop showcase, we'll link back to you, and that'll make your website have a little higher ranking maybe. So that could be useful, and people can write a little story about what that is. So we're eventually going to set up like a showcase content type that anyone with an account, which of course will be single sign-on from GitHub, will be able to create. Apologies for the really loud phone ringing. We also want to create a service provider listing so people can find developers or designers or web hosts for Backdrop, and we're going to want to create a jobs listing. So companies can post jobs, and developers can find jobs, designers can find jobs, all of that good stuff kind of around the Backdrop ecosystem, just like we have for Drupal. We want to do those. And another thing that we thought might be a good idea is to create a Backdrop events calendar. So in the Drupal world, there's this thing called DrupalCal, which can aggregate all of the events and put them on a calendar so you can see what's coming up. Right now we have a Google Calendar that we're manually adding stuff to. I think long term it would be great if we could have a place for anyone to be able to post their own events on the primary Backdrop website and have them show up in a place where everyone can see them. So that's long term on our radar as well. So that's what we have for infrastructure tasks this week, and we wanted to do a quick update on the project. Again, there hasn't been a whole bunch of activity in the last week, but we'll just kind of go over upcoming releases. The next minor release, 1.1.3, is not yet scheduled. We do have a handful of tiny issues we've been working on merging as they get done, but we don't have any security releases that would force that to be released soon. We don't have any bug fixes that we consider are big enough that would force a release soon. So we'll just continue merging in tiny bug fixes until we get something that seems like it's a good stopping point, and then we'll cut Backdrop 1.1.3. Of the things we're working on, we have a layouts UI meta issue where we've been getting a ton of activity on improving it, and also a bunch of feedback on things we maybe should consider that weren't already in that, so that's great. And then we also have some responsiveness responsiveness issues. I can't seem to talk today. Where Backdrop out of the box is responsive, but there's a lot of stuff that's left over from Drupal that wasn't responsive before we made the layouts responsive that we need to account for in our new responsive Backdrop world. So there's just a bunch of little tiny follow-up issues there on cleaning things up in various themes and various admin interfaces and similar. And thank you, Wes, for all the work you've been doing on that stuff too. Our next our next minor release is 1.2.0, and that is currently scheduled for September 15th. And so far, we are on track to include a handful of new features, including my favorite, the built-in rich text editor. We haven't been making a ton of progress. It was in, I would say, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, where we have integration with CK Editor included. We have modal support. We have a bunch of new things like floating images with captions, which is something that WordPress has had for a really long time. It would be great if we could at least get comparable with that. But there are a bunch of little teeny tiny pieces that we can work on later. So I think we've got it to a point where it's a shippable product, and we can add integration with stuff like image upload in an iterative path. So I think we should merge what we have as long as we can assume all the tests are passing and all of the human-related tests go well as well. We should get that in soon, and then we can go ahead and start on follow-up tasks like uploading images and associating images to nodes in the files table, and similar things like that. Other things we're working on, we've got modules related to fields that we would like to include in core, and our hit list for Backdrop 1.2 includes date fields, simple link field, and simple email field. And the date module, as it is in Contrib, contains a whole bunch of stuff we don't necessarily need to put in core. And so we have an issue on which things should be included and which things shouldn't be included, and started creating a core module that will have the stuff that we want included, and a Contrib module that will include the stuff we don't want included in core, so that we can still kind of put the two together and get the comprehensive date module that we have today. But not everybody is going to need recurring dates or date formats that are unusual, or all of the kind of edge casey stuff. So we're going to put that into a kind of a date extended module, or I don't know what we're going to call it, but some other date module. Link field we have a pull request for. I haven't looked at it yet, but that makes me exciting. And email field is also fairly straightforward, and we should get that going soon as well. So I think we're on track to get all of those things done in Backdrop 1.2. And we should also start looking at our list for what we want in Backdrop 1.3 as well. So right now, I'm just going to take a look. Oh, it says to be determined. So we should start thinking about if we want to add more field modules, this might be a good time to do it. If we want to add more functionality to the WYSIWYG editor, that also might be a good time to add those in. Any other major features people feel are missing from Backdrop, we could look at the top 50 contributed modules and see if there's anything that's kind of a no-brainer for inclusion in core, and just kind of make sure that we get everything that we need to be a suitable alternative to Drupal 8 ready, because Drupal 8 could be out soon. All right. Other things we're working on, and these are not necessarily scheduled, but things that we do all the time, are user experience improvements and developer experience improvements. And this is something that, you know, right now our target audience are people who are coming from Drupal, and they're going to be used to a tool that's very similar to Drupal. But once people have made the decision to go to Drupal 8, to go to Backdrop, to go to some other platform, to throw it all out and go without a website, whatever decision they're going to make, people who are currently on Drupal 7, once they've made that decision, our target audience needs to change, because right now our target audience is them. But once they're gone, we need to start trying to move this product a little bit downstream. We're not going for the enterprise. That's not our market. We are definitely for the small and medium business, so we need to look at the other tools that they're using, see the kind of things that they do really well, and make sure that we do those things really well as well. User experience is something that WordPress has gotten right, and it's something that Drupal has not been particularly attentive to for a very long time. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can improve in user experience land. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can also improve in developer experience land. One of the reasons people used to come to Drupal back in the Drupal 5.6 days is that it was lightweight, simple, and made sense. Drupal's moved away from that sort of model, but we're left with a Drupal 7 that was already not lightweight, simple, or made sense, and that's our starting point. So we need to kind of look at what it feels like to be a new developer in a Backdrop world and say, how can we make this experience better for those people? What is it like to write code for Backdrop? Are there things that just seem really unusual? Are there things that should be made more consistent in ways that we can maintain backwards compatibility, that first-time experience for people who aren't coming from Drupal, and what does it look like to them? So, developer experience issues in the GitHub queue are tagged with DX. GitHub experience or user experience issues are tagged in the GitHub queue with UX. And if you find other issues that you think are all related to a theme, go ahead and, I notice people have already been doing this already, put little square brackets around it, and then that way you can search for, theme or experienceness, and find all the issues with that tag. Eventually, I think we'll come up with some kind of documentation as to what those are, so it's not just those who are super familiar with the issue queue knows how it works. But I think for now it really helps us to be able to find different things. So that's that. Okay, it is Thursday. Every Thursday we have this meeting at 1 p.m. and then we have a little sprint. There's 5 hours. I have a whole bunch of people working on Backdrop at the same time, which is fantastic. If you can get hours from your job to contribute to working on Backdrop, Thursdays are a great time to do it. Any other time is also great. We take evenings, weekends, whatever anyone who wants to work on anything. But you will get the most feedback the soonest on Thursdays. Let's also have design meetings that happen fortnightly, so every other week, and the next design meeting will be next week. And probably the robotiness of my voice, I don't know if that's an internet bandwidth issue or my computer's processing speed issue, but we are nearing the end, so sorry about that, everyone. We have a bunch of upcoming events. Let's see. So it is 3rd. Next up, we have DrupalCorn, which is July 30th through August 1st. We have the Drupal Camp in Pennsylvania, which is August 1st through 2nd. We have Drupal Camp LA, which is August 29th through 30th, and Drupal Camp Costa Rica, which is July 29th through 31st. So that's now. Okay. So Costa Rica is first, and then DrupalCorn, and then all of these other things. If you want to see a complete list of Backdrop-friendly Drupal events, we do have an iCal feed of them. You can find that iCal feed on the backdropcms.org contribute page. You can find it in our Reddit, which is reddit.com/r/backdrop, and that sometimes will help you know what's coming up. If you have an event you want added to the calendar, you either are an event organizer and you want people to know that that's a Backdrop-friendly event, you can email info@backdropcms.org, or if you are a Drupal developer who's giving a talk on Backdrop, or a Backdrop developer giving a talk on Backdrop at a Drupal event, and you want people to know about it, you can also email info@backdropcms.org, and we'll add that to the calendar. Even if you're not sure if it's been accepted yet, go ahead and let us know. We'll throw it on the calendar. I guess that's it. Is there anything that we should talk about this week, or anything that we should talk about weekly in the future? Any questions?
Yeah, I made a short note there at the top of the events section in the agenda that we have been working on some reusable slides, some generic reusable slides that has been adapted from the talk that Jen and I normally give. And Wes, I saw you've already taken a look at that, and that's great. Think it would come in handy for your upcoming talk in Pennsylvania, or do you think that you'll make something of your own?
Yeah, I was going to take those and drop them a couple slides that I don't really think I can speak to very well.
Okay.
But keep a lot of the core stuff. Yeah, and I don't know if we want to just keep adding to that. If people find that, oh, I think my deck is pretty general, like maybe somebody does a theming for Backdrop specific presentation and they toss it in there. So I architected the repo so that having a bunch of decks in there would make sense. And then
Oh,
I
nice.
also got the SAS and Node stuff working. And if you run Node with Reveal, you can get a speaker display, so it'll tell you like what the next slide is and how much time you've been talking and all that. So if you couple
Wow.
with Node, it's really slick.
That's cool. Let's see, there was something else I wanted to add to that. I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Anyway, those are looking really nice. Thanks for the work on that. Let's see, Paul. We need to connect sometime. Sorry, we've been super busy. But we'll get together and try to find some more items for you, because I know you've just been rocking through these. And I got some of them merged over the past couple of weeks, but the queue is just really really backing up on me. So I'll try to get through those as much as I can and get you some feedback. Okay. Super.
All right, is there anyone else has any questions or anything we should add this week? No. Okay. Well, then we will see everyone in IRC. Thank you all for joining, and thanks for all your continued work and support on Backdrop.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.